When I was first diagnosed, it was in December of 2006. I had been going to the doctor probably every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks or so, because I was feeling so many different things. I had back pain, I was having a hard time breathing, I was fatigued. She ran all kinds of tests and even blood work and could not figure out what was wrong. The back pain increased, and by December 30th, I ended up in the ER because the back pain was so horrible that I couldn't move. I screamed every time I had to move. When I got into the hospital, of course, in the ER, they ran all kinds of blood work, and they did x-rays, EKG. There were so many tests they ran, but they hadn't run a CT scan. And one of the blood tests came back showing that I had a possible pulmonary embolism, a blood clot on my lung. And so they ran me into the CT machine and told me it would be about 15 minutes and I would get the results. About 45 minutes later, the doctor came in and she told me that they had found the cause of my pain, that I had lesions on my spine, which at that point I was kind of like, what does that mean, And then she said metastasize. Well, I knew what the word metastasize meant because my mother died from metastatic ovarian cancer. So my next initial thought was, oh my gosh, I have ovarian cancer. I'm going to die like my mother. And then and I started crying, and she stopped, and I told her that she had to continue on. And she said, from your left breast. And then I kind of got washed over with a little bit of relief, because if of any of the cancer diseases you could get out there, breast cancer had the most research. So I knew that my odds were a little bit better than hopefully. But it was very hard getting a diagnosis. I was only 38. So at the time I was too young for a mammogram, and that's why it didn't get caught. Also, what I found out is that even though my mother had ovarian cancer and I had breast cancer, that there was no BRCA mutation. That you hear it in the news all the time. They talk about the BRCA gene that Angelina Jolie had, so she had her double mastectomy and that sort of thing. That didn't run in my family. Tumor markers. They test your blood to see if you have elevated levels of certain proteins, and I'm not sure exactly, but it elevates a certain item in your blood, and mine didn't elevate. So that's why the blood test at the doctor's office never caught the disease. It's been a long run. I'm now 48, so 10 years I have been living with metastatic breast cancer, and for the first 7.5 years, I got pretty stable. And I can't complain too much because you don't hear of a lot of women that do live 10 years with metastatic disease. So that's, again, I know that there's hope out there for the rest of the world, because something is helping a lot of us starting to live a little longer.